Hey everyone, Nick Engvall here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about some of the people that make the sneaker history community and this podcast possible. It's more important than ever to think about who you give your money to when you're buying clothing to go with your kicks. Our friends at Guilty Goods started their brand with a goal of giving back, especially to the communities that make sneaker culture possible. With every purchase from Guilty Goods, at least 10% of the proceeds are donated to organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, the Movement for Black Lives, and many more. You can save 30% on your order by using the code HISTORY at guiltygoods.us. Again, that's history at guiltygoods.us for 30% off, and you can feel good about your purchase knowing you're supporting a meaningful cause. Sneakers are all about presentation, and if you're like me, displaying your kicks at home or in the office is just as important as when they're on your feet. Sneaker Throne makes sneaker display cases featuring customizable LED lights, drop-side cases to showcase the entire side of the shoe, not just the heel or the toe, the whole shoe. They've also got display cases for trading card collectors and hat collectors. To me, it's the perfect way to display your collection. You can save at least 10% on your Sneaker Throne order by using the code HISTORY at sneakerthrone.com. That's history at sneakerthrone.com. If you're a Patreon supporter or a member of our Discord community, you already know about Kicks with V hot sauce and his small batch, locally sourced hot sauce. V has been one of the biggest supporters of sneaker history and the podcast since the early days. He's currently the defending champion in our community trivia nights competition. Kicks with V hot sauce has been a huge hit with the community. You can save 10% on your order by using the code SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. That's SneakerHistory10 at kickswithvhots.com. Now, you're probably here because you like sneakers, and if you join the Discord, you know our community is about so much more than that. Whether it's the marathon-like community calls, trivia night debates, the in-person meetups, or just sharing our favorite experiences, we found that although we have such different backgrounds, we all have some unexpected shared passions. Not only does the entire community look out for each other when it comes to releases, we're like a support group for life in general. You can join the Discord community for free by heading to the show notes of this episode. After you're done listening to this episode, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Now let's get into today's episode.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a James with no regard for human life. Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Iverson against Gill. The crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What up? What up? Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast. My name's Nick Engvall, and I'm with my guys Mike and Robbie to talk some kicks, but to do it a little bit differently today. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Hey, doing all right, man. Doing all right. Ready to kind of do something a little different today.
I'm good. I'm doing the best I can. I think we're all trying to do the best we can. But another technically beautiful day. The weather's nice. I can see the mountains. Remembering the positive things.
Crazy times, but so this episode we want to do something a little different, and it comes from Mario Restores. If you don't follow him on Instagram, it's Mario with 2 R's _ Restores. He's a sneaker restorer actually based out of my hometown of Sacramento. He suggested that we actually interview each other to give you guys some insight on who we are, how we got into sneakers, and kind of our journey in sneakers as opposed to the bits and pieces that you get to hear throughout the episodes of the podcast normally. So we figured we'd take this opportunity to start off by Mike and I interviewing Robbie. Robbie, you ready for the tough questions?
Ready for the ring of death.
Let's start with maybe just let's start without any sneaker stuff, and let's hear where you're from, kind of how you I guess grew up, moved around, whatnot, those kind of things. Just give a short bio about yourself without any sneaker info.
Yeah, I like long walks on the beach. Feeling jazz flute. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. My full name is Robert Benjamin Falchi, if you want to like the technical. I don't particularly pronounce my last name any which way because the grandparents are very inconsistent with it. So it's like Falchi. I don't care. They said it both ways, so I say it both ways. But I'm 30 years old. I came from Las Vegas. I think I just said that. But outside of that, I went to college in Minnesota, moved around like Northern California for a second, and then back to Vegas. And I've been in Portland, Oregon since 2015. Moved up here to try to make my hoop dreams work, if you consider a hoop dream working at Nike. So that's the most shoe part I'll go into it. But, I'm a big foodie. I think everybody likes eating food, but I particularly find great joy in eating food. Keep saying because I'm just like, when you're asked to like give random thoughts about yourself that aren't probably your biggest identifier, which is shoes, it gets a little awkward. You're like, man, what is Robbie really like without the tag of shoes? But
I mean, I can attest to Robbie's good taste in food because when I was up in Portland, he took me around to a couple of spots, and he also sent me some fire pretzels recently. So food definitely gets the cosign on this side at least.
And I'm weird. It's like I could definitely live off of like vegan fruit bowls and chicken fingers. Like if those were the two things I could eat forever, just like acai bowls and chicken strips, I'd be straight.
So how about sneakers? Let's get into. Well, let's start with like the first pair of sneakers that you could remember maybe having, like that actually mattered to you, I should say.
Yeah, that's a great distinction you make because for a long time, pairs would just show up and they'd either be like Airwalks. I remember one time in particular, they were Skechers, and I was like, "Mom, what the hell are you doing?" and before I even had quote unquote taste in shoes, I just saw them like, nah. Like these are just instantly a no-go. And I must have been like 12 years old and I'm not wearing these. That was shut down real quick. But the first like real pair I remember were the Orlando home pair of Penny 2s that my stepdad bought me when I started taking, I want to say basketball lessons. I got like a private coach before that was cool, I guess, like a shooting coach. And I was just wearing like random like Marshalls, Nikes up into that point. And then he's like, here, have these. Because he was a Penny Hardaway fan. So he was like, have these. And that was probably like 2002, 2001-ish. Like whenever that retro was. I should have researched that. But that was the first pair I distinctly remember before the Answer 7. The Answer 5 came into my life. And like the white and silver pair. Those were like the first pair I was really, really like enamored with. I looked at him all the time, seeing Iverson play on TV. The dots connected really quick for me. He was probably before Kobe, or it was like Shaq and Iverson, like my two favorite people on earth when I was young. So it's like probably those two, the first pairs that I really remember, like holding the Penny 2 and like rubbing like the bubble, like the silver bubble around the ankle, and like the lines go, like the flowing lines going across, like the quarter, the shoe. And it's like really like feeling them and being like, oh, these are cool. Like I legitimately like these. So those are probably the first ones I distinctly remember.
Did you feel like you could run higher, jump faster when you got those?
I didn't know what I thought. I thought I mean, it was funny because it's like before, I think nowadays you're like, oh, I thought I could shoot like Steph Curry. So it's like anybody can shoot if you work hard enough. But like I'm still not fast. I've never been fast. I've never been explosive. So my game was nothing like Shaq or Iverson at that point in my life. To put it that way.
Oh, shoot. Now, you got the first pair that you remember getting. Like, now, what is the first pair you bought with your own money that you remember?
So before I jump into that, Nick and I were talking about like a weird bookmark in a sneakerhead's life. I call it the BJ and AJ, the before Jordans and after Jordans. And so it's like, it's funny because if you listen to this podcast, like I'm diehard Nike. I don't like Reebok. Like very set in my ways. And before Jordans hit my life, damn, like, yeah, I like Nike. That's cool. But like Reeboks are really cool. I liked Puma. Like I liked all these different things before I had Jordans. And then once I had the Jordans, I was like, oh shit, things done changed forever. And that was the Jordan 18. So like they weren't the first pair I remember, nor the first pair I bought for myself, but my dad bought them for me, the black and royal Air Jordan 18s with the brush and the towel. I left that towel at a 24-hour fitness like 5 years ago, and it breaks my damn heart. I don't bring towels to the gym anymore. Yeah, I lost the branded Air Jordan 18 towel, and it hurts. But that was like the first like fully like belly flop into the pool that is shoes was the 18. And once I got that, I started really like paying attention more. Every time my family went to the grocery store, I would hound them to buy me the Slam magazine out of the magazine section. I'm sure other people who grew up in the 90s and early 2000s also hounded their parents to get magazines, but when they still sold magazines, I guess. But I would just like pick up all the Slams and just like stare at the shoes and like see the Jordan 17 and 18 and just be like, okay, I'm going to start like memorizing all this stuff. So like AJ after Jordans is when I bought my first pair of shoes with my own money. And I was telling Nick, I'm pretty sure the first pair I bought with my own money was the tweed SB Dunk, the brown with like hemp looking tweed on the side. Pretty sure I got them from Sweet 160 in Vegas. And that was nice. 2004. So I was in 8th grade. And I'm pretty sure the tweed, the first pair I bought with my own money, or it was like one of my favorite shoes of all time. I've talked about it many times. The 2K4 Huarache. I might have bought that one first with my own money. But one of those two.
I mean, either of them make for a really good choice for a sneaker.
Yeah. The 2K4, that shoe, I could write, love letters to that shoe like it was a person. I still have them. I bought 2 pairs. It was the first shoe I ever bought 2 pairs of. And I still have the soles are separated. They're definitely not wearable in any sense, but it literally brings back just like the good memories of like playing with your friends at the park, biffing it really hard at a middle school basketball tryout. So like pain and suffering, but also joy with that shoe. All the PEs. That's when I started really like being in love with basketball, like fully, like really, really loving basketball. And obviously Kobe wore that shoe. So it's like the 2K4, I go back and forth. If I had to go in the grave with a pair of shoes on, it might be that 2K4, white, black, and red, or the navy blue with white swoosh and red piping, the Yukon colorway.
So since you're talking about important shoes, what is one of your grails that you actually own? And I guess maybe tell us a little bit about the shoe, obviously, but then tell us why it's important to you.
Yeah. I thought about this one pretty hard, and there's like 3 that come to mind. I'll give the abridged version on 2 and then the superficial reason for the 3rd one. But the first 2 are the True Blue 3 and the White Cement Jordan 4. Both of those shoes I saw in that Slam magazine around, 2002, 2003, 2004. They weren't retroing at that time, so I couldn't get them. I would just see them, and I would see them I would notice them in the streets and like freak out a little bit. And when I finally had the opportunity to buy those shoes, like the stars aligned. I had a job. I was out of college because those shoes retroed when I was in college, and I didn't have a job nor money. So it couldn't happen then either. So like 2016 and 17, I had money, I had time, I had like this, the stars aligned for me to be able to make those purchases on my own. And this is going to be a weird theme if we talk about it enough. I buy a lot of shoes on the toilet, and I remember buying both of those shoes when I was using the restroom. Both on Finish Line or Foot Locker, like a week early. I know the True Blues released like 3 days early on one of those two sites. And I was just like, reading Twitter on the John, like a lot of people do. And it's like, I got the link and I was like, oh crap, time to do this. So I bought the shoes and I was just so happy. Like Kobe wearing the True Blue in the All-Star game, being pictured with T-Mac. I'm pretty sure that was featured in Slam, but you can find the picture all over the place. That's just like probably the defining sneaker moment of my life, like history-wise, is that All-Star game, all the beautiful shoes that were worn. That was like my coming out party of sneakers. But so the True Blue 3 and the White Cement 4. But in my collection, like my favorite pair I own truly are the Off-White UNC ones. Like, and it's for superficial reasons too. Like, I think everybody should have like a cornerstone in their collection that's like a rare, expensive, hyped up shoe. Like, really not like very much like attachment to it emotionally, but I put them out at the mantle and I look at them since I'm quarantined, and I like look at them like once a week. I think they're really pretty. They're the only pair of Jordans I've ever owned where there are no mistakes on them. There's no paint where there shouldn't be. There's no glue where it shouldn't be. There's no loose stitching. There's no like when they poke out the holes for the laces, you'll find like that messed up sometimes on Jordans. None of that going on. It's truly are the only pair of Jordans that are perfect that I've ever owned. I can name at least one factory flaw on every single pair that I own. Like, I guarantee you, except for that pair. And which speaks to the craftsmanship. I know a lot of people either love Off-White or they don't care or they hate Virgil. There's many different polarizing views on those shoes, but they're even more special to me because I got them through trade. And I think that's like a lost art in sneakers. I think it's all about trying to buy whatever you can on release day and post it on StockX. The second you get that I got them email from Nike or whatever retailer you're buying them from, and just to not even enjoy the shoes and just to let them, to sell them as quickly as you can because they're a commodity. Like back in the day, I've traded, like a lot of, I've owned a lot of shoes because of trading. I buy them. I don't like them that much. So I trade them for a shoe I do like more, wear them for a while, trade that for another shoe I like, and just do that for like, probably, I think at one point, 8 different shoes. I just kept trading and trading and trading and trading. And it's like mixing up a little bit. But I love collecting, but I don't feel the need to have hundreds of shoes anymore. Like that, I grew out of that stage a while ago, it feels like. But I got the Off-White Air Force One from the sneakers release of the original 10. And it's like my only real sneakers win. And I don't wear Air Forces, so I sat on them for like 3 years. And then I traded them for the Off-White UNCs, which is a shoe I will definitely wear once, I can go outside and show people that I own them. Because that's why you own that shoe. It's super superficial. It's not deep. It's not cool. I'm sure people hate hearing stuff like that. But deep down inside, if you own a really pair of shoes, for damn sure you enjoy you enjoy stunting in them. It's just like, it's a talking piece. It's it shows you're with it. Like whatever, acronym you want to put to it, it fits. And it's just, it's not deep, but it be like that sometimes. I have shoes in there I love that cost $30 and I hug them passionately. Then I have shoes like that where I'm just going to grab them if the apartment burns down because they're worth a lot of money and I can restart my life with them. It's stuff like that. It's like, it's not that deep, but just probably be that shoe in my collection right now.
Now, speaking of like your trading and things like that, what's your craziest come up, whether it be something that was on sale or something you just kind of, unexpectedly traded for and it just like spiked in value or something like that?
I can tell you every come up I've missed in my life. That's like easy. A highlight for you.
Robbie, positive.
I got highlights in my brain, every shoe I didn't get when I should have bought. But my best come up, real talk, again, people hate hearing this. But when like somebody at Nike sends me a really rare shoe and it's like, oh shit, this is free, I'm dope. that's the come up. But within trades, I want to say, and this is definitely shows how Jordans have changed. I traded a couple pairs of GR dunks, and this is like, I'm talking like Nordstrom rack dunks. You could probably buy for like $40 in 2006, 2007. I think I traded like 3 pairs of them for a pair of white flip 3s. And that's when like white flip were super hard. These were like 2000, I want to say like 2008. It's probably when I did that. And I later in life got the black flips. I wish I had both of those shoes, but via trade, I now own neither one. But yeah, trading some like, and I remember buying the dunks from Nordstrom Rack. It was like a white and sail pair, a green like Irish looking pair, and like a knockoff pair that looked like UNLV dunks, but they weren't. Traded those 3 for the white flips. And at the time, like that time of Jordans, like 2005 to 2007, super coveted on the I guess there wasn't a resale market, but there was. It was just, it looked different. But on the secondary market, like those shoes, you know, like Thunders, Lightnings, Cool Gray 4s, Peapod 8s, Maze 7s, like you can go on and on. Just like,
Facebox,
yeah, it's like, what's up?
Facebox, I can't remember the year. I'm trying to think of the boxes that were the Jordan.
Yeah, face boxes, like the chrome. I mean, like the silver side boxes that were shiny. There's a lot of heat that were very, very coveted at that time. So I want to say the white flips probably my best come up.
That's a pretty good one, and you hit on a good point. It is a lost art, trading. People don't talk about it much, but you can definitely. You know, you could definitely get some good stuff because everybody has different personal values on things, right? So like, you know, those examples, you know, that person that you traded might have been totally into the shoes they were getting and were like, I'm not even going to wear these, you know, flips, right? So.
Well, and the thing about trading is everybody thinks their stuff is worth so much when you're trying to get rid of it. And it's like, you have to let go of that ego and understand that the other person probably is trying to come up also. So, I mean, I've made a lot of even trades. That's why I had a hard time thinking about my biggest come up. I made a lot of even trades because it's just like, oh, a LeBron, when LeBrons were really hot, like 7 through 10, traded so many of those shoes because I wanted a pair of Jordans. But at that time, you know, face value of LeBrons were really high. And so, I mean, it worked for both parties. So you got to remember that, like, your stuff isn't worth it. I mean, it's always worth more to you because it's yours. But to a buyer, it's a completely different relationship, or a tradee.
Very true.
Yep, most definitely. So now what about your, like, work in the sneaker world? Because I know you worked at Foot Locker, Nike, I can't remember, but talk a little bit about that, like what your experience was like, what you loved about it, what you hated about it, and if you would do it again if everything else went away.
You couldn't pay me right now, and then that's what a job is, paid work, to work at a retail store. I could be the GM who like oversees 4 stores. And I'm like, nah, fam. Like, that is like the last thing I would want to do. I have proudly worn the stripes of Foot Locker. Put my stripes on. And I also LeBron James the stripes too. When I was done working there, I did LeBron James jersey burn, but with the Foot Locker shirt. That's the benefit of working in the desert. There's tons of area just to go burn stuff. So, Foot Locker, I worked there for like 2 years. It was a house of hoops. It was one of the biggest house of hoops in the country. The Miracle Mile, no, not Miracle Mile. Caesar's Palace on the Strip. That's the one I worked at. And yeah, I mean, it's cool because, you know, if you haven't worked at a Foot Locker or a retail store, it's commission based. It's like the worst commission ever in the history of Earth, but it exists. And you got to sell expensive shoes, and everybody, Vegas is a worldwide destination. So, especially places like China and Brazil and Canada, where it's way more expensive to buy footwear, they would come in and just buy out the shop. I mean, I remember specifically the Mizuno Wave Rider and Brazilians are like peas and carrots. I would sell like 6 pairs of $250 wave creations or wave riders, and so, to one person, because he would bring them back to his whole family, because it's like $500. Here it's $225. So of course you're going to buy them for the whole family and bring them back. So like that was cool because your sales were there. Like if I worked at a small store, that would have been completely awful. But and you also get the limited releases. So pretty much anything that came out from like 2012 to 14, I had a chance to buy because I was assistant manager. So I was like third in command on the purchasing. I think 10% goes to staff, or these 10% is supposed to go to staff. So I was pretty high up on that hierarchy. So I copped a lot of stuff that I no longer own. But that was easily the best part, is having access to like the top tier House of Hoops drops and not having to pay full price for them. I remember stuff like the Bread 11, and like, that's when people would like literally like beat other people up trying to leave the store for their Jordans, and like being very happy I didn't have to deal with that hoopla. Like every big Jordan release, I was like, man, I'm so happy I don't have to deal with this. And it's like being able to buy the shoe. That was really cool. But I mean, celebrities too. I mean, that was another benefit of that particular store. Drew Brees comes in, Floyd Mayweather. Who else do I remember? The funny thing is, if Chum Lee from Pawn Stars would come in, like, you should know who he is, and like wouldn't give you his ID to enter a raffle. It's like, bro, your show sucks. Like, give me your damn ID. He would drive me nuts.
Dang.
Yes, I know who you are, but I also know who you are by Chum Lee. Like, that's not like not a government name. Yeah. Busta Rhymes, like one of the coolest people ever as a customer. Busta Rhymes, I love you. Because I actually told him, like, Busta, I'm a big fan of you. And he dabbed me up because he went there with Diddy, and Diddy was not talking to people. But Busta was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, give me some more. I'm kidding. But
Robbie's last day.
No, so I mean, that's why I'm supposed to be on the do not hire list from Foot Locker. So I feel confident in talking how I'm talking, because after Black Friday, like 2014, they asked me to like stay and like super clean because people were coming for a visit, and I took my stripes off. And I was like, I quit right now. It was like 2 p.m. I quit in the middle of the day. And they were like, we need you to write a resignation letter. And it was something along the lines of like, I expletive hate it here. Peace. Like, I got real ignorant with that exit. Like, it was not a good look. But yeah. They're not taking me back.
During that time, like, what was your favorite release? Or I'm sorry, take that back. Not favorite necessarily, but what was the most memorable release you were a part of?
The Bread 11s, people losing their damn minds for that shoe. But real talk would be the LeBron 10 Corks. That was a moment in time where LeBron could do no wrong in the footwear space. Like, hype was like, everything was hype. Like, we couldn't keep LeBrons in the store. So that was probably, the Corks.
Nice. Okay.
Random, but just people really went. I mean, because you had to really be into shoes at that time, but people were losing their damn mind for that shoe. Like,
I remember that. I would try to get a pair as well.
Yeah, that was really. And shout out to people that work at shoe stores and sell that stuff. I flipped them things quick. I sold those things. I was like, these are worth how much? Okay, see ya.
So I guess, like, with that said, what would you like, what piece of advice would you give someone looking to like make a living in the sneaker world? Because obviously that was just a stepping stone for you, and we'll get into a little bit more of what you've done, after this question. But I think too, like the 5-10 years ago, Robbie was probably way more excited to work at Foot Locker than 30-year-old Robbie, right?
That's the damn truth. I think before that, so the biggest thing is go work in a retail store. Go through that struggle, because I also worked at a Nike Town. I'm putting this on the record. I have never sold anything that I've ever bought while working at Nike. So put that out there for the record. The Nike time was way better than the Foot Locker time. It was way more of an enjoyable experience. Just because Nike treats their floor employees, I feel like, better than Foot Locker did. So like I had much more fun working there. But the reason why
you're on mute,
man, I just went on story time on mute. So, I mean, to answer your question, I kind of need to go one step back. I also worked at House of Hoops Las Vegas, Nike Town Las Vegas, or NTLV as it used to be known. Now it's just Nike Las Vegas. But I used to work there, and that's where I'll start my answer. Like, you should work retail if you can, because for as much as I disliked my time at Foot Locker, Nike was a similar beast, but it operated so much differently that I didn't hate going there. I mean, nobody likes cleaning up a store at midnight and folding T-shirts. That's just a given. But like, I learned so much about Nikes, and I already knew a lot about Nike before working there. That's why I took the job. But having product in your hand every single day, seeing every colorway, Nike loves to retell their glory stories, and their employees should absorb those, because I learned a lot about the brand and the culture. You could look at it like, oh shit, here's another Nike campfire talk, or you could listen to it and like take away from the lesson, like take a lesson away from the story, and put it into your tool belt as another thing about the brand you like. Because end of the day, I do everything I do to try to work there at some point in my life. So I need to also say that while working at Nike, I never sold any product I bought while being an employee there. Just to put that disclosure out there. But that really was like the time I built a lot of my chops talking about shoes. So I had to sell Nikes to people. I had to tell somebody why Zoom, what Zoom is, what Zoom does, why you should buy a shoe with Zoom Air in it. And having that experience, having that conversation 40 billion times makes it so I can write creatively about Zoom Air. Because, if I just maybe owned 1 or 2 pairs of shoes with Zoom in it, or I only read about it, you're not going to have the whole picture. Trying to sell Zoom to somebody makes you have a better understanding of the product when you want to go retell that story for copywriting purposes or whatever purposes you might have. Like, let's say you want to be a footwear designer someday, and you've sold that product in the past. At least 2 or 3 things that you would improve upon, and you can use that in your future design endeavors. Like, it doesn't have to be Nike either. Like, if you love Reebok, or you love Adidas, or you love Puma, New Balance, wherever it is, there's always retail positions open if there's a store around. So that's where I built my supreme confidence in Nike product. Because, I've been reading Slam and, Kixology and Nice Kicks and Nick's work at Soul Collector. And I've been absorbing so much before working at Nike. I worked there before working at Foot Locker. So this is 2011. So like, I had absorbed so much knowledge, and I had played sports. So I had the learned knowledge of footwear. I had the practical use of the shoes, and then the selling aspect and being underneath that brand's umbrella kind of helped wrap together my package of what I can bring in footwear and like where my knowledge comes from. So that's why you should listen to me when I talk to you. I'm just kidding. But like, that kind of is why I feel like I have a valid voice in footwear, is because I've seen it from so many different angles that I can accurately give you a perspective that should be worth your time.
Solid advice. Mike, you got another question?
Oh, shoot. Just so from, I don't know if we're going to ask this later, so I don't want to jump too far ahead, but so you've done your work in the retail space, you clearly, you do your thing now with the writing and the podcast. What's the dream job? Like, what's the, I don't want to say the in game, but where do you want to see yourself eventually?
Every single day I go to nike.com/careers, whatever the URL is, and I type in Ekin, E-K-I-N, every day, and I search. Because an Ekin is somebody that knows Nike backwards and forwards. Ekin is literally Nike spelled backwards. And they are the people that go to both, Nike direct places like Nike Town and, third-party vendors like Foot Locker and Finish Line, and they teach about the products. They're basically Nike teachers. And I had a very impactful Ekin when I worked at Nike, and I was like, man, I want to do what you do. And I've had friends, shout out to Landon. I've had friends and Kennard. I've had so many friends who have been Ekins that are now in different positions at Nike. It's funny. I just said I would never work retail, and Ekin is a retail position, but you're not like on the front line. You're teaching before and after. You're teaching in the break room. You're helping Nike employees sell Nike as best as they can, and understand the history behind it. It would be my job to then be telling those campfire stories in the back, in the break room. So it's like, that's kind of where I would love to be. And that's where I look every single day for a role at. I've gotten through the interview process more than a couple times with like copy jobs at Nike, and they just haven't come to fruition. And that's a point I kind of want to touch on before we segue away, is like, you're going to have a lot of failures in your life. And like Michael Jordan spoke into this, like he's only succeeded because he's failed. And like, I've gone to the point where like I'm sitting there for an entire day shadowing at Nike and I don't get the job. I've done that a couple times where it's like, you go through so many hoops and you submit all your writing samples and it just doesn't work out. And you could either let that, let it bite you, and you could have the F you attitude. I don't want to try anymore. That comes and goes sometimes. I'm not perfect. I do feel like I put weight on myself to try to want to get to where I want to be. But I have to remember that good things don't come easy, and you have to keep trying. Once you stop trying, your chances end. So every single day I search Ekin, and once there's a job open, I have a network of people who know people who have done the job, who know people still in the job. I just got to wait for the opening to come up and take my shot. And even me knowing people doesn't guarantee anything. That's just the first step you kind of have is a network of people who are willing to support you and help you get there. But sometimes somebody's just better qualified or knows more than you. And you have to take that honesty pill and use that to learn more about shoes, or to become better at writing, or to become more more well-rounded in what you're trying to do. So I want to be an Ekin. It hasn't worked out yet, but I'm going to keep trying and keep that MJ and Mamba mentality about it.
Nice, man. Well, always continue luck, man.
Yeah, that's some great advice for sure. So I got two more questions for you. I guess one would be, this kind of goes into your answer only because I know the answer to it, but how'd you get started writing about sneakers?
Man, rule numero uno, annoy the hell out of Nick. I mean, so it's funny because, like I said, I want to be an Ekin, and I've known that since like 2012. I've kind of known where I want to start my professional shoe career, but I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know how to show that I know what I'm talking about. It's a big difference in your head, being in an interview place, like, oh, here's all I know. But you have to have a resume to get you into the room to have that conversation. So I was like, all right, I know a lot about shoes. I know a lot about shoes. My friends know it, but the world doesn't know it. So how can I let more people know that I know about shoes? And my degree is in English. So not the most transferable degree in terms of money making. I should have been like marketing or something. Basically, I should have thought that out more when I was 17 or 18. But I'm like, all right, I got a writing degree. I know a lot about shoes. I read sneaker blogs every day. Let's write about shoes. That's going to be probably the avenue that works for me. So I annoyed the hell out of you. I think literally months, because if you know Nick, Nick's not too hot at responding to stuff sometimes. And I think that but you would respond and you would be like, all right, yeah, later, soon. Because, I now know the bigger picture of why you were trying to push off sneaker history stuff. I think I saw a post on sneaker history of like the website's going away or something. And I was like, nah, man, don't do that. Like, I can do it. And I just kept annoying you. And you're like, all right, well, do it. So I did it. I did it like many posts a day, every day for like a year straight. And then I was like, all right, I have a portfolio now. If you go to sneakerhistory.com and like go to page 20, my name comes up nonstop. So like I can direct people towards something. So I use that. And, you always have to like, and again, I wish I knew this when I was younger. And this is the importance of having mentors and thinking about long-term goals. I then realized like, all right, I have a portfolio. How do I then segue into doing this more or for more people? Or, how do I keep this train moving? Because I don't like being static in many sense of the word. I like to move. I like to be doing things. So I was like, all right, how do I parlay this? And I've like read Nice Kicks since it was young. Since like probably the first day that website existed, I probably read Nice Kicks. So I was like, all right, I'm going to reach out to them. And then I met, Matt and former employee Ian Stonebrook, who's another mentor of mine. And I started working with them. And then the homie Oscar at Modern Notoriety, I was like, hey, let me write for you. So I was like writing for them all the time for a little bit. And just like trying to get my content in the most places possible. So if somebody at Nike Googles my name, something good comes up. And if you Google my name, something good does come up. So that's cool. So mission accomplished there. But that's how I got into shoes. It's, writing about shoes is being persistent. I mean, if somebody wants to annoy the hell out of me until I tell you can write, I welcome you to that challenge. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess like full disclosure, the reason why it really took so long is because when I initially went to StockX, the conversation was about buying sneaker history from me and not hiring me. So the whole time that I was at StockX, although I wasn't competing with their business in any way, I always felt a little hesitant to go full on the website because I didn't want them to be like, hey, you're competing, we're going to sue you or some crazy shit, right? So that was why there was so much delay in like actually moving forward with anything. But I mean, I'm just glad that you were persistent with it. And I the reason why I asked is because I think that just reiterates what you were saying before for, the kid or the adult, man. Like, I mean, you want to relive your youth and get into sneakers, like really just the persistence is key. Whatever it is, you just, and like, I think the conversation around getting your name out there and having your name in different places, it's 100% in my opinion, it's 100% the best way to make people realize how passionate you are about something. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you're hiring people, you want people that are passionate. You know, you don't want people that are just mailing it in at the job and being lazy. You want them to really love what they're doing, because that's going to be inspiring to the people they work with, especially like you said, in that Econ role. So,
and that's like the importance. I kind of need to touch on this, and that's the importance of like looking at who's writing stuff that you're reading, because that's how I found you, Nick. Like, I read your stuff for like a while, and like Russ too. I mean, I don't have a relationship with Russ, but like I read his shit in Slam for like forever. So it's just like I know what good writing looks like, and I know who the people are. So like I knew how to write, and I knew about shoes. I didn't know how to put the two together. So I knew I needed somebody to help me. And that speaks so why you're a good person, Nick, to help somebody put those two together. But you have to find somebody doing what you want to do and learn from them, because you learn so much more from a mentor. If I had a mentor when I was 17, 18 in shoes, I would have gone to a completely different college. I would have majored in something else. I would have taken a lot of different steps. And you and Ian in particular, really, like, you know, helped make my writing better and improve my work, and gave me the reps, and I could bounce ideas off you, and it's like that kind of stuff. You need to have somebody you can bounce ideas off of who knows what they're doing. So, you know, I didn't just randomly, don't just go reaching out to sneaker blogs in their DMs every day saying, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. Like, I wanted to genuinely learn something and grow from something and like have an end goal. So it's like, that's really important too, is like have a vision for what you're trying to do. Don't just go do stuff to be active. Like your focus has to be towards something.
100%, man. And really, like, I would reiterate that as someone who's basically helped establish most of the platforms that are out there, or most of the audience, you know, the accounts that are out there and the sites behind them. It's the people that you want to connect with, not the main account, right? Like, you can have a much more open conversation with somebody after you understand who they are as a person outside of it, right? Like, that's kind of why we wanted to get into this kind of interview format with each other. But anyway, I wanted to kind of wrap up with like one last question, which you've kind of answered, but I'm going to take it a little bit different. So I was going to ask what the one person or brand that you'd like to work with, or a special project that you'd like to work on, and why. But obviously, you know, an Econ role is that for you. So I'm gonna twist it and say, what would be your, like, if someone gave you a collaboration, what would the shoe be and why?
I got it all figured out. So Nike SB, it would be with them, because when they do a collab with somebody and it's done right, it feels like it's done with them. So when I was in third grade, you had to make up a superhero, and I was a chubby kid. So my superhero was Refrigerator Man, and like he could take food out of him and like throw the food.
Awesome.
So I would have a Refrigerator Man SB Dunk Low, and it would be like all silver, like a stainless steel appliance on the outside, and on the insole it would have like I remember drawing a drumstick, like he would throw a chicken drumstick and like a slice of pizza. There'd be like little kid drawn like food on the insole, and on like the back heel it would be like barbecue sauce, like bottle, and like a ketchup bottle, like random condiments on like the back heel. So it would be the Refrigerator Man SB Dunk Low.
Coming soon to a skate shop near you.
I mean, Mork and Mindy silver, but with black. And
Okay.
It'll make them easy to get though.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we get a pair?
Yeah, you two get friends and family. You two get the old school refrigerator where it's like that off-white instead of silver. I already thought about friends and family, dog. I'm ready. So
Yellow color.
ready.
That's awesome, man.
I have a top 5 grails. Nick said
Yes.
it'd be hard for him to think of like his top 5 shoes. I thought of mine really easily.
Yeah, so let's do it. Let's roll through them.
Dun 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 dun. So, top 5 shoes. If I could own any shoe, and these are in order too. So, number 1, if I could own, I guess I'll go backwards. Never mind. Honorable mention: the Kith Air Force One that just dropped, like via charity. You know that drawing like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are so tough. I love Kith. Like my Robbie's uniform is a Kith sweatshirt and Nike pants. So like that Kith Air Force One, honorable mention. But number 5, this Solar Red Yeezy 2. A lot of people would say Red October, but if I'm gonna have a grail, the Red October is too gaudy for me. I think the Solar Red's like the perfect amount of too much. It's like just right there. So Solar Red Yeezy 2. Number 4, the LeBron 10, What the MVP. That shoe release, I still never got a definitive answer on how that released. So I know some outlets got it in like Miami, and I know LeBron's store in Cleveland got them, and maybe somewhere in Miami. But that shoe, it kind of released, but it didn't. If I could have any LeBron shoe on earth, it would be the 10, What the MVP. No questions asked. Number 3, we have the Kobe 6 Orange County, which if you've never seen that shoe, it's like an orange sunset gradient fade across the top. The Kobe 6 in any gradient fade is like a top 3 shoe to me. I love gradient fades and I love the Kobe 6. But even now, because Kobe's passed, it reminds me of like sunset, so is death. And the California, I've watched so many sunsets in California. It's like the most beautiful thing on earth. And it's the coloring is just flawless. So deep cut there, but the Kobe 6 Orange County. At number 2, another What the shoe, the What the Kobe 8. That's a shoe that now costs so much damn money that I will never own unless they retro it. So that kind of sucks. So just another killer execution. There's nothing more to say about it than I love the way it looks. And the Kobe 8's my favorite Kobe of all time. So it's just the best looking of my favorite model. So no brainer there. And my number 1, if I could have any shoe on this green earth, it would be the Colette Air Jordan 1. The Air Jordan 1's my favorite shoe of all time, probably. I go back and forth about that answer, but you just can't go wrong with a pair of 1s. Can't go wrong with white and blue. Can't go wrong with Colette. Can't go wrong with Rarity. Everything about that shoe is A1 perfect. So that's my top 5.
Definitely checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I guess the only thing left is let everybody know how to find you, and we'll wrap.
Well, I'm a child of this earth, so you can find me. I'm just kidding. You can find me at RAHBEE702. Instagram algorithms suck, so go follow me, because that's the only way you're going to find me is if I tell you. So yeah.
Right on. Well, we appreciate everybody listening, and make sure you follow Sneaker History for more. We will follow up with an episode grilling Mike on his sneaker background, and then these guys will grill me on my sneaker background as well. But we just want to give you guys some insight into who we all are, so we figure this is a good time to do that. And yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
See ya.
Black Lives Matter.
They do.
Yep. What up, y'all? This is Nick again. First, I wanted to thank you for listening to the Sneaker History Podcast. It really means a lot that you would spend a part of your day rocking with us. Before you take off, I wanted to ask a few favors. If you're looking for more content from the Sneaker History crew, head over to patreon.com/sneakerhistory. Our Patreon members get access to exclusive episodes of the podcast, our latest merch, giveaways, and much more. You can become a member for as little as $5 a month, and it really goes a long way supporting the crew. Next, make sure you're signed up for our email newsletter. We share updates about the footwear business, some of our favorite finds and deals, and other sneaker-related news a couple times per week. I like to think of it as a one-stop shop for the sneaker game, or at least a work-in-progress one-stop shop for the sneaker game, if you know what I mean. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. Whether online or in person, social distancing in effect, of course, it helps make the sneaker community a better place, and you never know what conversation and opportunity might come from it. As always, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify and Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more video content coming soon. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in our Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is a connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions that we have in common with each other. We recently launched a couple of new podcasts directly from our community. One of them is a Formula One podcast. If you're an F1 fan like me, the Exhaust Notes podcast is your weekly fix of Formula One fun. It's hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I've been wearing fitted hats for years and collecting my favorite teams since I was a little leaguer. It has been awesome to see so many new fans getting into fitteds in recent years. Crown and Stitch is our new talk show about fitted hats with Dexter, Keith, and myself, where we talk about fitted hats, snapbacks, throw in some obscure hats because we all kind of like some funky stuff once in a while, don't we? Copping, collecting, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Hit the links in the show notes for this episode to give our new shows a listen, and be on the lookout for more new podcasts dropping soon. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Thank you all for the support, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.